going to call the meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Belsley. Here. Dobb.
Here.
Hare.
Here.
Herman. Kaufman. Newhouse.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Can we do the pledge allegiance to the flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't believe there are any public hearings. I don't think there are any special reports, but I do see that we have some visitors here today that I think would like to speak. Ladies.
My name is Isabel Kolbeck from 201 Rassy Avenue, and these are my cousins Claire and Caitlin Geyer of Washington. And we are the founders of the Backyard Talent Show for St. Jude. We wanted to just take a couple of minutes to thank the people of the village of Morton for all of the support they give our show. The show is held in Idlewood Park and would not be possible without the support of the Morton Tourism Association and the Morton Park District, as well as the support of local businesses and the people of Morton who volunteer to help us in countless ways. Our show was founded in 2008, and to date, the Backyard Talent Show for St. Jude has raised about $58,000. We hope to add much more to that total when we host our 6th annual show this Saturday, July 6th. There will be great food and fun activities for the kids beginning at 5 p.m., and the show starts promptly at 6. Everyone is invited. There is no admission charge, but donations are appreciated. Everything at the show is donated by our sponsors so that every dollar raised goes directly to St. Jude. This cause is very dear to our hearts, as it is to many here in our town. St. Jude has come a long way against its fight against childhood cancer, but there is still a long way to go. And so we thank you so much for listening and hope that we see lots of you on Saturday night. Thank you, and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice job, lady.
$58,000, you're hired.
Thank you for your
Very good. The cousins' names,
Claire Geyer and Caitlin Geyer.
G-E-Y-E-R.
G-E-I-E-R.
Girls, how many acts are coming from out of town this year? I remember last year there was a couple from out of town, right?
There's some
You
from
ca-
Pekin,
And yeah.
Washington.
Didn't the one girl come from Iowa to do the one? Yeah, very good, yes.
Yes.
So you guys are doing a great job. Continue to do the hard work. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, we really
Spell
do.
Caitlin for me.
K-A-I-T-L-Y-N.
Thank you.
Just to let the board know that Ms. Kolbeck happens to be the daughter of one of our police officers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment? Yes, sir.
My name is George Burrier. I'm a resident of Morton. I live at 701 East Polk Street. First, I'd like to thank the village board and the previous boards for their efforts to extend the bike trails in Morton, particularly the one past Lions Park, which I read about recently, and the plans to extend the trail along Detroit Street to Queenwood. The Mackinac Valley Trail, as maybe you don't know, one of the vital links is with the Queenwood connection. So by doing that, we are linking ourselves up to the Bloomington Normal system. And in that system is a 367-mile trail called the Route 66 Trail. And that's accessible directly from their trail. So by hooking up to that, we're linking ourselves up to a major regional trail system. And I've been involved, as you probably know, with the Rock Island Trail for over 30 years. That is coming finally to fruition, and by going the other direction to the Hennepin Canal, we link ourselves up to a 500-mile trail system. And that can all be accessed from leaving from my house in Morton and getting on the trail and going to East Peoria and across the bridge and so on. And that is the opportunity for tourism that that we have here in Tazewell County by linking to Bloomington Normal and by linking to Peoria. And I read with great interest today in the paper, and I'm sorry I don't have a map showing you this system, but I'll provide it at a later date. I called to try to get a copy and did not have too much success with my computer as many times as I've tried. And I would like for the board to consider with the Cortlandt Street project to consider putting a bike lane in that so that we can draw people from the other part of the trail and bring them to that side of town. And from what I've read and heard, that seems to be where the development is going to take place in the next couple of years. And I think by linking the trail and trying to extend it through Morton will make it accessible to other people and include that in your plans for the future. So I would urge very much that you consider that as part of the design stage that you're asking for approval tonight for. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lauterbach, you want to add to that? We've had some discussions about that very thing.
I've had a lot of questions lately. I will say you'll hear a few things tonight regarding the Cortlandt improvements, and as part of that development, we're not planning on the construction of it yet, but we are working at the intersections of North Morton and Cortlandt and Walton and Cortlandt to make sure that we have pedestrian crossings there. With that, both landowners, we haven't finalized everything yet, but they are donating property adjacent to Cortlandt for the construction of a future multi-use trail. And at the same time, I actually had a meeting today with one of our consultants. We were actually in the middle of a little long-range planning for bike trails. So stay tuned later in the year. We will have some public involvement meetings for that as we present our findings and try to gather some more. But I think we're on the same page with where you're at.
Any other comments from the public? Would the public like to pull anything from the consent agenda? Which includes approval of the minutes, approval of the bills, ordinance number 1305 regarding the prevailing wage, and resolution 313 regarding the PUATS agreement. I wanted to pull 313 myself. Would any of the trustees like to pull any of the items? Could I have a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. Belsley?
Yes.
Dobb?
Yes.
Hare?
Yes.
Kaufman?
Yes.
Newhouse?
Yes. The reason that I wanted to pull Resolution 313 is that I wanted to mention to people that the federal government actually requires this to be done. The federal law requires a metropolitan planning organization be developed and established any place you have an area population of more than 50,000 people. Morton contributes about $5,800 a year. Those are funds that are used for matching funds for federal government grants and for PUATS. PUAT stands for the Peoria Peak and Urbanized Area Transportation Study. We couldn't come up with a nicer sounding name than that. But Peoria, for example, gives $40,000, and we've done pretty well with it. As a matter of fact, I'd like to ask Craig to comment on it because, to our advantage, Craig has just been nominated vice chair of the technical committee. So would you give us a few more thoughts on this, Craig?
Yeah, just to add on to what you said, basically there's 14 metropolitan planning organizations in Illinois. We're one of 14 there, and basically it's the means to get federal funds for these projects. But to look back just on 3 projects right now, in 2010 was West Cortlandt Avenue, where we received $623,000. In 2011, East Jefferson Street out by Tennessee, we received $787,500. And then currently our biggest project is we're in the design phase of Detroit Avenue widening, where we're going to receive $1.866 million for that. Typically, federally funded projects are a 80-20 split, 80 federal, 20 local. Through the PUAT system, it's 70-30, so we still have to participate in 30% of those construction costs. Another thing with that, just to add to it, is typically the right-of-way and the engineering is paid for locally too. But I think over the last, 4 years, we're looking at almost $3.3 million we've received in federal funds through PUATs. So I think it's definitely a good organization to be a part of. It's good to collaborate with the other local agencies to come up with projects to construct in the region.
Any questions or comments?
To Craig's credit and his predecessors also, one of the key reasons I think we've done very well with obtaining some of this funding is we've done the due diligence ahead of time. And that's a big part of prioritizing where these funds go to, because they're competitive. And even though it's a collaborative effort among representatives from various municipal bodies, obviously everyone still wants to have a piece of that pie. But if you look back over the last several years, we've done very well. But again, the key is that there's a lot of behind-the-scenes efforts and homework that needs to be done, and that's everything from getting the engineering done to acquiring right-of-way. And I think a lot of that stuff goes, a lot of times, often unrecognized or assumed. It just happens. So I want to commend Craig and the Public Works Department for being as successful as they have, but it's not just been coincidental either.
Any other comments? Can I have a motion to approve the resolution? Tom, Dobb, and Randy. Yeah. Call the roll.
Dobb?
Yes.
Hare?
Yes.
Kaufman?
Yes.
Newhouse?
Yes.
And Belsley?
Yes.
I had one other item. I'm really not all that sure how this is supposed to be handled, but there's a gentleman in town who has financed and constructed several interesting projects around Morton. He has told the village that he's considering bringing a new restaurant to Morton. It's been described to me as something on the order of an Outback or a Ruby Tuesdays. In order to secure that kind of a franchise, he will have to serve liquor in the restaurant, and so to that end, he would like a straw vote from the trustees to determine whether or not, should he come up with a restaurant that's substantial and will add to the community, would you be inclined to provide him with a liquor license?
Yes.
So could I get a kind of a raising of the hands if you were likely to vote for this when it happens? 1, 2, 5. Thank you. The other thing I wanted to announce is that we're going to call a special board meeting for the purpose of discussing the plaza. That meeting will be August the 1st here in Freedom Hall at 6 o'clock.
Is that, Mayor, I was going to ask, that's something, when we could work with you in just getting that publicized, putting on our website, or
I'm sorry.
the information? I was going to ask about publicity for that, just to get the word out.
Yeah, well, I'll get with Wendy and we'll get it
Yeah.
published.
And Adam, if you can give us a word in the paper, we'd appreciate that too. I think as big as a project as this is, and touches a lot of bases with all citizens in the community, I think to conduct a meeting like this and look for feedback or input, I think is a very good thing, and the more publicity that we have and making people aware of it is good.
Village Clerk,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Village Administrator.
2 items tonight. The first item is I am asking approval to transfer $22,000 from the Stormwater Depreciation Fund, $500 from the Water and Wastewater Depreciation Fund, and $1,000 from the General Fund to the Capital Projects Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Sam?
Second.
Yeah.
Hare?
Yes.
Kaufman?
Yes.
Newhouse?
Yes.
Belsley?
Yes.
Dobb?
Yes.
The second item tonight is I'm I am asking for acceptance of a proposal for computer software and conversion services for an asset management system to Cassell Clarity in the amount of $5,200, or to Civic Systems, which is our accounting software, is Cassell Clarity. Basically what this does is, right now our auditors are handling this for us. And it takes them probably a week and a half to compile this information, go through and check it, make sure it's okay. This will allow us to do it in-house. We will have this set up. It ties right into our existing accounting software, so it should be somewhat seamless. And basically what will happen is the auditors will come in and we will give them a report, and they will just check that, check a few of the invoices, make sure we're handling things right, instead of spending that week and a half time. So I'm hoping this will help us, for one, reduce the cost of the audit, and two, reduce the time that we're all spending on this. I helped with it this year, and it requires a great deal of time. And it's fairly complicated. I think they used 15 spreadsheets to do all of this, which it'll do in one system for us, which I think will be nice.
So moved.
Is there any indication yet how much it would save? Did you know?
You know, I'm not sure, and I will talk to them. I think we have to get through the first year, because this first year we'll be looking at it. It's always working through the bugs. So basically to figure out what they were doing, how this is handling it. So the first year will probably require more out of them because they're going to have to do more checks. Within the second year, I would expect us to see, if we're talking, they take about a week and a half's time, and we're taking that down to at least a week, because they'll still have to check it. And you consider just imagine one person, say they're charging $100 an hour. You know, that's a substantial chunk.
We have a second? We got it. Yes, okay. Any more questions? Discussion? Call the roll.
Hoffman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobbs.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes. Is that all for the administrator?
That is it.
How about the chief of police?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Corporate counsel?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Director of Fire and Emergency Services?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Director of Public Works?
I have 3 items tonight, Your Honor. First, I'd like to ask for permission to request bids for the school bus storage facility project at 250 West Cortlandt Street. In your packets is a kind of a layout of what the latest is. I think it's your last page. Do one at a time.
Yeah, let's do one at a time. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Sam, that was you, Sam?
What
Now,
part of it are
discussion?
you taking bids for?
Basically, there'll be 2 bid packages. Obviously, the school districts kind of facilitating that at this point through Keach Architectural and Zumwalt and Associates. So if it's approved tonight, we'll go out for bid tomorrow. That does not mean we're doing anything yet. Basically, we'll open the bids July 25th at the district offices. And with August 5th will be our next meeting here. If everything goes well, it'll come up for a vote then. At that time, it would be contingent on the next night, would be August 6th for the school.
For theirs.
So nothing really has to happen until July 25th, when all the numbers come in. Then at that point, both boards will be able to look at it and decide where we go from there.
Any more questions? Call the roll.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobbs.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yes.
Next item.
Second item, I'd like to ask for permission to request bids for the CIPP sewer lining project. This is the cured-in-place pipe that we've been doing for, I believe it's 19 years now. So I'd like to ask for permission for that. This year's a little bit lower. We budgeted $100,000. Typically, we've been at $250,000. So I'd like to ask for permission to go out for bid for this project.
So moved.
Second.
Is that your end? Tom?
Me.
Don was second. Any discussion? Call a roll.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobbs.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Lastly, I'd like to ask for approval of an agreement for professional services for the widening of East Cortlandt Street from North Morton Avenue to Commerce Drive with Hanson Professional Services Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $316,000.
So moved.
Second.
Randy, second. Discussion? Randy?
I was going to ask Craig if, we've had the benefit of having the information ahead of time, but could you maybe give an overview of how big area this
Yeah,
encompasses?
I'll kind of start way back when. I've been here for about 2 years. So for my first week on the job, I was involved with a developer in the same location as Farm and Fleet. At that time, I spent a little bit of money at that time to basically generate traffic in this area. At that time, we realized that if a big box store and that type of development, restaurants, high, peak hour volumes was to come in here, that would prompt us to spending the necessary money to make sure that North Morton, Cortland, that whole area had the capacity to serve these developments. So that's where we're at today. It's not just for Farm and Fleet, this project. This is for the entire Cortland development from North Morton to Walton. As part of that, Hanson is the prime, but about a third of that is going to Moore and Kerr for survey and some of those things. But it does encompass North Morton Avenue, the widening of that. This stuff's not done at this point, but the widening of North Morton, the widening of Cortland, and also the design of Walton Avenue to the east of the Farm and Fleet development. With that will be significant improvements to both intersections at North Morton and Cortland and Walton and Cortland. It's a very complex design with a very tight schedule. I don't know if you guys have any other questions.
Just more
Additional
of a personal note.
Sure.
I think I appreciate Mr. Burris's comments on a multi-use trail sitting out there, and I know Craig already commented on that, but along with it, personally, I hope that we can look at the prospects for landscaping along there with trees and,
Sure.
Appropriately. I mean, that's a big impact area, I think, for the future of our community. And a nice gateway, a nice boulevard in that area, for commerce. And there's also a lot of asphalt and a lot of concrete that's going to be in that area between pavement, sidewalk, streets, parking lots.
Sure.
So that's my personal thoughts, is if we can account for or plan for trees in there sufficiently, I think it'd be nice long-term.
And to tie back into the gentleman's statement earlier, we're trying to get pedestrian crossings at both those intersections with obviously a future plan for sure to go from Veterans all the way to Main. But I really have to get these terminal points in right now. Once that's in, then I'll sit down with the board later this year, go over that and figure out where we're going to go from there. Obviously, there'll be grants available. This will be an easy one to apply for when you have good terminal points in this high-end location. So those are some of the things we're getting ready so that we can discuss it later in the year.
Thanks. Any other comments, questions? Call the vote.
Cobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Planning and Zoning Officer. Village Trustees, Mr. Belsley,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Mr. Dobb,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Mr. Hare,
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Kaufman. Mr. Newhouse.
My usual long list, Your Honor. The first one, I am very pleased to bring before the board, as it represents an investment in Morton from a lady, an investor, who is moving some of her investment here, has acquired the property at 210 Jefferson, where the West Jefferson, where the former pet store was. And one of the motivations for doing it was what she sees as the quality of development along West Jefferson and downtown Morton. She likes what she sees here, and she's making an investment. The Plan Commission recommended unanimously to approve the special use permit to allow living quarters above. We've done the same thing for other similar properties. So moved.
Second.
You want to take these one at a time?
One at a time, yes, sir.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Oh, we did, okay, call it.
Hare,
Yes.
Kaufman,
Yes.
Newhouse,
Yes.
Belsley,
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 1306, this is the property annexation in Wolf Crossing subdivision. You will recall that a couple of weeks or so ago, we approved a plat that required this. Normally, this would come first, but for reasons not the fault of the developer, it was delayed. And so now it's coming in sort of reverse order, but this is the annexation that goes with that plat approval. Move to approve.
Second.
Any comments? Call it.
Kaufman,
Yes.
Newhouse,
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to 1307. This is an ordinance, this is really all related to the bus parking facility that we recently approved. And the first element of that, 1307, is the amendment of the code for B3 to include bus storage service areas. And that makes us consistent with most other communities. That's how this is done. Bus repair, storage, maintenance, service facilities are typically in B3 rather than R, where the schools are zoned. So this is a good change to the ordinance and a good and a requirement for the facility to proceed. Recommend approval. So moved.
Second.
Call it.
Newhouse,
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Okay, in conjunction with that, and we can, the numbers kind of jump around, it's ordinance 1304, rezoning the property. And the property previously was I-1. This is pretty much a housekeeping item, but we need to move it in order to accommodate the specific plans that have been laid out, setbacks and so forth. It needs to be moved from I-1 to B3. Essentially the same provisions, but with some variability on setback requirements. So this will facilitate the installation as it was presented to the village board when it was approved. Move approval.
Second.
Anybody got a comment? Call it.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes. Okay, and then finally, related to the school bus storage, we now have a provision within the code for storage. We have a rezoning, and now within that rezoning, we need to approve a special use. That's just sort of a typical way of handling this specific line item, school bus storage, within B3. So move to approve.
Second.
Comments? Call it.
Dobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Last one on the agenda is, this is second reading and plan for vote tonight on the tax rebate proposal for expansion of Morton auto auction. And this, if you look, you should have in front of you the ordinance 1308 that abates the taxes on 10.47 acres. This basically says we're getting X number of dollars now. After the abatement, we will be getting 10% of the new value, 90% of it is deferred then for the 5-year period. There's a map if you want to look at it. Thank you, Trustee Belsley, for asking that this be included. This is the new site, considerable enhancement to the auto auction. I had also mentioned in previous discussions, I think that there were some questions about some non-conforming uses. Those have been resolved, or existing non-conforming. There's no conflict, and therefore move to approve the 90% rebate.
Any discussion?
I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
Has there been any movement yet on getting a standardized procedure like we talked about?
Yes.
So we don't look at these on a case by case?
Yes, and just to refresh for everybody, A couple of years ago, I think, we had created a standardized plan, a matrix for doing this. You know, come to town, you have so much capital investment, so many jobs, so much square footage, whatever you're entitled to X, Y, or Z rebate. Again, consistent with many other communities. Unfortunately, we were unable to get full agreement of all the taxing bodies at that time, and we've since had some changes. We've so kind of back to the drawing board. So a new proposal is in the works, and within the next some weeks, I'm not sure what the schedule will be, but certainly from my point of view, well before the end of the year, I would like to see this plan back in front of the various taxing bodies in a form that everybody now feels comfortable with and can approve.
We also,
But yes, sir.
For federal and state funding issues and agreements that go forward, we actually have to have an intergovernmental agreement in
Yes.
place.
Yeah.
So it's not just a good idea for consistency. It's actually something that we need to be working towards anyway. And I think that with some of the changes that have happened across the taxing bodies, we've got more open minds and people that will look at it. And we don't want to put an agreement in a place that just is a blanket covering. We want to put some thought and effort into it so that we aren't giving away money that would be unnecessary, but it makes sense. And if something falls outside of the numbers, we can actually point specifically to why we've got this, or, why we've got these numbers in place. So, but it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and typically has not been extended to retail. I don't know there's any rule that says it cannot, but typically these things don't arise as much with retail as they do with industrial and manufacturing and other type sites. So it's not it will not even when approved, it will not be a kind of a rubber stamp that says anybody that comes to town passes go and gets $200.
So it won't be a formula, it'll be more of a guideline that we can use?
It'll be a formula. It'll be fixed so that companies come and look at it and say, here's what you qualify for if you are in X, Y, Z category. The difference will be if there's somebody would have some exotic requirement or not fall into the guidelines in some way or into the formula in some way, then there might be an exception. But otherwise, the idea is that again, like other communities, you don't have to go case by case and review every time. So it will be thoroughly reviewed with all the taxing bodies. So we'll have it in detail when it's done, and I'm hoping we can get that done within the next, I'd like to see it within the next 90 days.
We have a motion on the second reading?
Yes. So moved. You seconded? Kaufman seconded?
Any more questions? Call it.
Hare.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we're going to need another closed session tonight to discuss human resources. Do I have to read this citation?
Yeah, just state the statutory section. This would be under section
2C.
120/2C1 of the Open Meetings Act.
So I believe we need a motion to close the regular meeting. Second. All in favor?
No,
Are you
has to
calling?
be a call.
Oh, I trust them, though.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Did everybody vote?
Yes.
Okay. Now I need a motion to go into, pardon me?
Take any action.
Yeah, I wanted to tell everybody, we do not expect to have any action after this. So all the staff and all the public can leave if they want. There won't be anything happening after this meeting.